Mammals, like humans, like you, locomote by walking. You also locomote by running, by walking or by running. So just like we're seeing in that vision, that human is walking or running, locomoting, moving from one place to another. But we noted that locomotion cannot occur unless there is what we are referring to as a skeleton. A skeleton, when we look at that visual, we can see that this human being, that mammal, is moving the bones. In so doing, it could bring about what we are calling locomotion. Therefore, locomotion in humans or in mammals is basically the result of the skeleton and the muscles. Remember, muscles are attached onto that skeleton. So the muscles, when you look at a human moving, or when you're moving, what you see, you simply see that flesh outside. But what is exactly bringing about that locomotion is that framework of skeleton. Remember, there are three types of skeletons: the hydrostatic, like the earthworm, fluid filled; the exoskeleton, like in insects, outside the body; the endoskeleton, inside the body, just like your body. So that is the endoskeleton in humans. All the skeleton is basically composed of bone and cartilage. Bone and cartilage. And cartilage, into the details of the skeleton, of how locomotion occurs. Let us see what are the differences between this bone that we are talking about and cartilage. Remember, the two are found in that about locomotion. Now, what are the major differences between the two? There are parts of your body, where we have cartilage, like that part of the nose, the soft part of the nose, like the pinna of your ear, that is also cartilage. But we also have cartilage in other parts of the body, like at joints. At the joints, there are bones, but there is even cartilage. So what are the differences? One, bone is hard. Bone is hard and compact. Cartilage, soft and flexible. When you do that to your pinna, you really feel that it is not as hard as bone, and it is even flexible. Then, bone consists of what we call calcium and phosphorus. Therefore, calcium and phosphorus are responsible for hardening of bone, while cartilage does not have the salts. That is why it is flexible, soft, not as hard as bone. Then bone, we have what we call the long bones and the short bones. We are going to see this when we come to the skeleton in detail. When these bones that are short, like those of the vertebral column, we are going to see when we come to it later. Now, in the long bones, there is what we call bone marrow. Bone marrow. But cartilage does not have bone marrow. You could have eaten chicken. When you eat a part of chicken, like the thigh, or that lower part which you call the drumstick, that drumstick has a long bone. But when you try to break off the head of that bone, inside there is marrow. There would be marrow. Marrow is common in bones, those long bones of if you've eaten beef. For chicken, it's not common because remember, their bones are hollow. For chicken, they are hollow. But when you eat chicken and you take the drumstick per se, that bone is what you're calling a long bone. Though for chicken, it is hollow. But when you eat such bones of beef, or with beef from the cow, you realize that there is bone marrow within, while cartilage does not have marrow. Then bone has nerves, cartilage no nerves. Remember, nerves are the ones responsible for the transmission of impulses. You are able to feel the pain because of transmission of impulses from one part of the body to another. That is done by the nerves. Bone has blood vessels, while cartilage does not have. Blood vessels arteries the veins, but cartilage doesn't have. Bone occurs in adults. The fetus, that unborn baby, is what we're calling a fetus. That fetus has mainly cartilage. That is why a baby is born when almost the whole body is soft, flexible, very flexible, that very young baby. Why? Because it is having mainly cartilage. So the fetus has cartilage mainly, but does not have bone, while adults have bone, but they also have cartilage. Therefore, bone is found only mainly in adults, while cartilage is found in the fetus and in adults. When that baby is born, it has a lot of cartilage, but as it goes on developing with time, growing, increasing in size, cartilage changes to bone. Cartilage becomes hardened and develops into what we are calling bone, a process referred to as ossification. Therefore, ossification is the formation of bone from cartilage. That happens when the baby is growing, developing into an adult. Then bone forms blood cells. Remember, in bone we have blood cells like red blood cells and white blood cells. These are formed in the skeleton. They are formed in that very skeleton. It does not form any blood cells. Rate of growth of bone is slow. Bone increases in size slowly, while cartilage increases in size at a high rate. Bone is permanent, while cartilage is short-lived, temporary. Why? The child is born with cartilage, but cartilage will not remain purely cartilage throughout the child's lifetime. As the child goes on developing, tending towards becoming an adult, then cartilage is replaced by bone, meaning cartilage is short-lived. But once bone is formed, then it remains permanent. So that is the comparison between those. Now, after looking at this skeleton, what are the functions of what does the skeleton play? In summary, the skeleton is used for support. Their inner organs like the heart, the liver, the kidneys, they are all supported, they are all held onto that skeleton. They are all held onto the bones that make up the skeleton there, just like we're seeing. Meaning that the skeleton supports those inner organs within the body. Then the skeleton is also used for locomotion. Just like we have seen, just like we have observed, that for you to move from one place to another, for you to locomote, you need a skeleton. You need that framework of bones. Therefore, it is important in bringing about locomotion. Then the skeleton protects delicate organs in the body. When you look at those skeletons there are particular organs like the heart found in what we call the rib cage. Do we see those ribs there? The ribs. Now those ribs make up what we are calling the rib cage. And in the rib cage, we find delicate organs like the lungs, like the heart. All those are protected by the skeleton. Look at the skull. The skull protects the brain. The brain is very delicate. That is why we are saying it protects delicate organs. Then it stores calcium for usage. Remember, bones contain calcium and phosphorus. Therefore, if the body requires calcium and the diet does not have enough calcium, some of the calcium stores in bone are released in order to supply calcium needed by the body. But when you take up food, meals with much calcium, then the calcium is stored within the bone, particularly within the skeleton. Then, like we said, it is a site for manufacture of blood cells, the red blood cells and the white blood cells. These are manufactured particularly within bone. Then it is important in breathing. As you're breathing, there is the rib cage, just like we're seeing in those visuals. The rib cage. The rib cage, when you breathe in deeply, you feel the rib cage going up. You breathe out deeply, down. In, out. So the rib cage keeps moving up and down. This means that it is important in the process of breathing. You remember when you were looking at gaseous exchange, you talked about the external intercostal and the internal intercostal muscles contracting and relaxing to bring about inhalation and exhalation. Those are part of the skeleton, hence important in breathing. The skeleton is important in transmission of sound through the ear ossicles. Those ossicles, the bones that we find within the ear, the ossicles, are important in transmission of sound. And lastly, the skeleton is important in nutrition. As you are chewing, you chew using the teeth. These teeth are part of the skeleton because the teeth are bones. Therefore, as you're chewing food, the skeleton is playing an important role. That is why we say that the skeleton is used in nutrition. So those are the functions or the roles of the mammalian skeleton.